Voiceover is everywhere, and you hear it every day. From radio
Number one for New Country 96.3 Hawkeye in the morning.
to TV
Alpha, readers escape. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitudes.
to movies.
I see you have constructed a new lightsaber. Your skills are complete.
To animation
Endgame, Spider-Man!
and so much more.
I don't want to grow up, 'cause baby, if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid.
Welcome to episode 29.
Welcome to Who Did That Voice, the show where we take an in-depth look at the world of voiceover, including movies, TV, animation, and more. And now, here's your host, Trenton Larkin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Who Did That Voice. Today on the show, we have Ebin Antony. Ebin, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure being on your show.
Well, Ebin, so the very first thing we like to do when we have a guest on the show, especially for the first time, is get to know them. So tell me about little Ebin, the young boy that grew into the man he is today, and how did he get into acting?
I'm originally from India. Right from my childhood, I've always been wanting to, get into acting. I was really active in, dance, sports, like small school plays and stuff like that. And then, I went into my engineering for my undergrad, and then I was the university soccer player there. So I didn't really get opportunity to pursue acting itself, but I was a voiceover artist back home in India. So, 4 years of undergrad, I did a lot of voiceover gigs. I did about over 100 cartoons and movies back home in India. And then that's when I moved to the US for my grad school. And then I, came to grad school, got done with my grad school, got a job, was kind of settled. And then that's when I was like, you know what? I should actually, give it a try, pursue my passion for acting. I did not want to have any regrets in my future. So that's how I ended up in New York Film Academy in Los Angeles. And then, right after that acting workshop, that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then, from there on, I've been training with, world-renowned acting coaches like Tim Phillips, Larry Moss. Larry Moss, you guys all know, like, he's the acting coach for Oscar Award winner DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And then, I've been part of short films and student films locally, and then I've been auditioning. And then COVID hit, all the productions kind of stopped. So I was like, you know what, let me just double up my training skills. That way, when everything opens up eventually, I'd be ready to go. And that's exactly what happened. Spoken was the first audition I got after productions resumed. And then it was a 3-round audition process, and I was selected for the role. The director was very happy with the way I portrayed the character. Spoken is available on Amazon Prime now.
That's fantastic. What an amazing project for you to have been involved with. And we'll definitely dive into that a little bit more. But I'm actually curious, when you did the voiceover work in India, was that for original projects or dubbing American projects into other languages? Or what was it that you were doing voiceover for primarily?
So I did voiceover for my regional language dub. So there was dubbed into, there were Hollywood films that was dubbed into my regional language.
Nice.
And then there was real regional the movies that were shot in regional languages. I gave voices for that as well. You wouldn't believe I actually gave voice for Terminator: Rise of Machines for John Connor.
That's so awesome. See, and that's the kind of thing where, people don't always realize, other actors in other countries are doing these voices when they're being, subbed and dubbed. And so it's really cool that you've been able to be in so many amazing projects and get yourself out there in your own country with your own people, and to now be bringing that to the world through Hollywood. So what would you say the actors that inspired you growing up, who were the 2 or 3 actors that really inspired you growing up, Ebin?
So there are a couple of actors from back home in India. One of them is called Kamal Hassan. He's a legendary actor. He could pull off like 10 to 15 characters in the same feature film.
Dang.
Like totally different characters. And then I really love the work of Tom Hanks, De Niro, the greats.
Yeah.
So I grew up watching those films.
That's fantastic. With you being such an entertainment lover, what are like 3 all-time favorite movies of yours?
I'd say Godfather for sure, Taxi Driver, and Inception.
Very nice. Very totally different and unique films with great perspectives in their own right. So that's really cool. Man, Godfather is one of those movies that it never gets old, and Taxi has such classic lines, and yeah, that's amazing. So tell us a little bit about being the co-star in this written, this production of Spoken by writer director Tinell Ransom. What was it like to be a part of an Amazon Prime horror film? Amazon has totally changed the face of entertainment, as well as others like Netflix and such. But Amazon has really been coming out with their own original films and TV shows that have really been making a name for themselves. What is it like to now be a part of this world that Amazon is bringing for us in entertainment? And what was it like being a part of this role in Spoken?
Well, I'm first of all, I'm super excited. I'm really thrilled that my movie's on Amazon Prime. Because Amazon Prime is one of the biggest online platforms out there right now, and what it does is it brings the whole world, inside your house. You can watch any film around the globe. So I mean, it's a real boon. Of course, I do like going to the theaters and watching films there, but it's different now, and I think this is the new normal, and we gotta adjust to it. And about Spoken, I mean, Tinell Ransom is an awesome director. He's super talented. It's a bunch of guys going to a campus for summer camp, and then they encounter these mysterious crabs, and the story revolves around how they deal with the crab attacks and how they survive. And I'm lucky to play one among the five guys who play the students in the film.
That's fantastic, man. I mean, with this opportunity you've had, kind of sort of post COVID, as we're still kind of dealing with it, it's amazing that you got to audition, get the role. And then, I mean, the opportunities for you going forward are just endless, because once you get your foot in the door and people start working with you, the opportunities seem to come more and more as time goes on.
Right. Definitely. Because I mean, this is my first feature film, and, being like part of an ensemble cast and being one of the main leads is a big thing, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity the director has given me.
Absolutely. Well, so you've done a couple other projects. You kind of touched on a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your role as, I believe the character's name is Aziz in Butterflies. Is that correct?
That's right. So Butterflies is based on award-winning author Tom Levine's novel called Party, and it's directed by Kevin Stevenson, and it's written by Ryan McCoy. The movie is almost complete. I just got done with the ADR a couple of weeks back. It's come out super awesome.
That's awesome.
We just submitted it to the Sundance Film Festival. So fingers crossed. Don't know what's gonna happen if it does get accepted. I'd be on cloud nine, but it should be releasing out soon, and it's a teen drama story. A very interesting story. I don't want to give it a whole lot of details, but I play, one of the main characters, Aziz in the film. He's a Turkish immigrant, and I'll watch it and keep supporting us.
Absolutely. Definitely looking forward to that releasing so that we can check it out. The other project I wanted to talk about real quick is the one where you did I believe it was a short film called With a Price, where you played Tony. Can you tell us a little bit about that role in that production?
So I don't know if it's completely coincidence, but all the three films I acted has a slight tinge of horror and thriller to it. But in this film, I play a supporting character where I actually inherit a possessed house and how I deal with it. So it's kind of a super cool, fun story to be part of.
That's awesome. So all three projects so far have had kind of a twinge of horror to them, in some aspect, maybe more suspense or horror, but maybe you'll get to venture out one day and play a superhero or something else along the lines down the road and change up the genres a little bit.
To be honest, yeah, I like to play a superhero, and I want to be a superhero that is more grounded on reality. And, I don't expect to be like a new Spider-Man or Batman or Superman, but I just want to be a normal human character who's like a superhero. And I was looking for like who would inspire me, and there it is, Jungle Book's Mowgli. So if Mowgli ever grows up, I know they're trying to shoot Jungle Book 2. Well, here it is.
That would be a fantastic idea. I think I remember a version Disney did back in the 90s where Mowgli was more grown up and more
Right.
kind of a young 20-year-old something character, where he was kind of more, fierce and ferocious with his animal friends. And so that would be a great perspective with Jungle Book 2 or something along those lines, where you could play a very dashing young prince for Disney or something.
Aladdin, right?
Or Aladdin. I could totally see you playing Aladdin. Absolutely. Yeah. So, the opportunities for you are endless. And it'll be exciting to see how your career continues to blossom and grow, Ebin. We just have a couple more questions for you. I know there's, NDAs and you can't always talk about things, but is there anything else coming up soon that we could talk about that might be releasing soon or that you can share with us?
Well, Butterflies is definitely one of the projects that's going to be out soon.
Okay.
I've been talking to a couple of directors back home in India. So, fingers crossed, hope everything works out. It's still in the discussion phase, so I can't really talk about it.
I understand.
If something gets officially announced, I definitely will let you guys know.
Absolutely. And so do you know when Butterflies is anticipated to release? Do we have a date yet, or do you know?
It should be early spring, either in January or in December.
Okay. So hopefully end of 2021, sometime early 2022. Okay. So we will be keeping our eyes peeled for that. I have two final questions for you, Ebin, and we will wrap this interview up. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, man. The first one is, what kind of advice would you give to your fellow peers, somebody that's looking up to you, maybe admiring you from your home country or here in the United States? What is the advice you would give to them for pursuing their dreams of acting?
A couple of things. The first one being, this is not a sprint race. This is a marathon. So, you got to have the perseverance and patience to, stay in this business. And it's having the right attitude towards it and having a positive attitude. It's like how my acting coach, Tim Phillips, says, it's not rejection, it's selection after each audition. They select you. It's not like, oh, I didn't get this audition. It's not about judging how good of an actor you are. It's just that you weren't suitable for that role, right?
Yeah.
And the second one being, now I come from a soccer background. I used to play a lot of soccer. I was a professional soccer player in my past life. So I just don't train right before the match. I train throughout the year.
Yeah.
When the match comes through, you just play. The same way, it's to all fields you're pursuing. You just don't train right before the day of audition. You train throughout the year consistently, and then when the audition comes in, you just perform.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic advice. And I really love how you talk about it being a marathon and not a sprint. So many people think it's just going to happen instantaneously, but, although the ball can start rolling rather quickly once it gets going, it does take a while for those roles to sometimes come, especially when we've had something like COVID-19 hit that slowed that entire industry down to almost a halt, in some aspects, depending on what kind of genre you're acting in, whereas voiceover was able to still maintain. A lot of live action things were put on hold for quite a long time, unfortunately. So I love the advice. I think it's fantastic, Ebin. And thank you so much for sharing it with us. I have one final question. And the question is, what is the legacy you want to leave behind in the next 40 to 50, 60 years when you retire from acting? What is the legacy you want people to say or know about you in the future?
Ebin is a good man with a good heart.
I love it. It's very simple, but it's very to the point. And it's also very unselfish and very humble. I love it. Ebin, thank you so much for having some time to share with me today on the show. Would you do us a special closeout? Just tell people who you are and what show you've been on today.
Yeah. So, hey guys, my name is Ebin Antony. I've been on Spoken, which is a feature film that recently got released on Amazon Prime. So check it out, support us, and I'll keep entertaining you guys as much as I can. This is Ebin Antony on Who Did That Voice?
Hey everyone, and thanks so much for listening to today's episode of Who Did That Voice? If you enjoyed today's episode, please check us out online on all social media platforms at Who Did That Voice and on YouTube at Who Did That Voice 24. Also, remember to check out our website, whodidthatvoice.org. Again, that's www.whodidthatvoice.org. Thank you to all my listeners out there. I just wanted to say, if you want to partner with Who Did That Voice, just telling your friends and family about us is the best way to share the show with others, and or leaving us a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast from. The third and final way is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Who Did That Voice.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time for more discoveries on Who Did That Voice.